Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. How nice to bump into you. Guten Tag and bienvenidos, and thank you, dear listeners, for joining us for another edition of Über Cinco, the podcast game show where we deep dive top fives. My name is Nathan Henenfent, and I'll be your host for today, where our contestants will reveal and defend their top 5 life surprises. Expect the unexpected, as you don't know what will be lurking around the corner as we explore those little moments that catch you off guard and those life-altering revelations that change your course forever. And in the den today, it's no surprise to find Brian Ernst. How you doing, Brian?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
My first time on a game show.
And what a shocker, it's Mitch Brinkman. Hello, Mitch.
Hi, yeah, I've been applying to be on the show for 7.5 years now, and I finally got on, and I'm not gonna let my chance go to waste. God damn it, I already fucked it up. Sorry. I'm not gonna let my shot go to waste. I'm gonna take the one shot I have. So, okay. Ready.
Off to a good start.
Yeah.
All right. If you tuned in last week, you will know that Über Cinco is the proud sponsor of the no-hit Sherlock softball team out of Elmhurst, Illinois, and we will be reporting on their progress as the season rolls on. Here's a recap of this week's action.
That's right, the no-hit Sherlocks finally took a stumble out of the embarrassment cave, bringing home a W for Papa BizBear, rendering our investment worthwhile again.
The 5-3 victory over Where My Pitch Is At was put beyond a shadow of a doubt by full-time accountant and all-the-time slugger Joe Boomstick Peterson, but ribbies from the A-team, Amanda and Allison, started things off right.
Defense was also on the menu tonight as our beloved no-hit Sherlocks turned a beautiful double play in the 5th and said, "No entrado, muchacho," in the 6th as they threw out a runner at home, preserving their lead.
And a stampede around the baggies from the 96-week-old milk-drunk third base coach Charlotte, the loose cannon Murphy, capped off the evening in style as the no-hit Sherlocks put a cherry on their well-deserved comeback.
All right, if this is your first foray into the den, or if you need a friendly reminder, let's wake you out of hibernation with a quick rundown of the rules. Each player in the den has spent time with today's topic, arranging their top 5 answers in order of importance. Those answers have been submitted to the host, who will moderate the game, awarding points to the player with the most poignant answer.
Starting with their number 5 choice, we will move up the ranks until we reach each of their top answers. But if both contestants happen to have the same answer on their list, well, we have an Uber standout.
You will hear the official Über Cinco siren, and both players must reveal their answer and what number they ranked their submission. An Uber stare down is all or nothing, with one player earning 3 points. After all answers have been read, the host will reveal the final score.
Of course, I'm entitled to a house rule, which will be a surprise. And please remember, you can join in on the fun. If you have a topic or Fast 5 you would like covered on the show, or if you just have a question for us you would like us to answer, head over to bizbear.biz, send it our way, and don't forget to stick around to the end of the show for my Fast 5, where I will rattle off my definitive list of the top 5 doors of all time. All right. Mitch, you won the pre-show surprise contest this morning by waking me up by blaring Rise of the Valkyries outside my window through a police loudspeaker, so you get to go first.
Well, thank you very much. My number 5 is one that all my friends, my octogenarians, my older folks, my bridge partners, my folks that like to play the shuffleboard in the park, they're going to know what I'm talking about, but I'm preaching to you guys here today. And that is, you get older and you realize, it's a big surprise, antique stores are actually pretty dope. They're like a pretty cool thing to go in and explore. Hey, I heard that sigh. Don't you fucking dare, host. Tell you what, I was just down in Alabama. I found an incredible new turkey platter for Thanksgiving, but this one's got an advantage to my previous platters. It's not breakable. It's metal. So inevitably when I drop it by accident, because I've broken 2 platters previously, this ain't happening anymore. It's just gonna be a big old clang, clang and bang, and then I'm gonna pick it up and put the turkey back on and serve it with a smile. So
Wait, you drop them while the
like
turkey's
from
on
the-
it, and then you still serve the turkey?
well, you do it in the kitchen, in the servants' quarters, and people don't, we're sitting at the dining room table, they don't see you do
so
it.
Nathan, are you not familiar with a clang and bang? Like, come on.
Both 5 second rules are in place. If you pick it up before 5 seconds, it's still good, and if you pick it up after 5 seconds, it's still good. Yeah.
Still good, yeah. And if there are any cracks in there, pour gravy on it. And you're good. Also, antique stores, obviously, it's history. You get to look around and check out people's old cool shit. Recently, too, I found a really great. I don't know if it was a painting or a photo or a weird magnetic impression. I don't know how they did those in the 50s, but of 2 haunted children right next to each other, both looked haunted and dead already. And it was such a cool picture, and it was $80. And I was like, I think I need this. I think I need to get this. And I texted Danny. I was like, this is incredible. These 2 haunted dead children reminds us of that Halloween costume we did a couple years back. We went as drowned children one year. And she was like, I love it, but do we actually want this in our house? Or is this just going to be an overly creepy thing, and we're leaning into it too much? And I said, fair point. So instead I spent that $80 on a rocket cocktail shaker. It's a rocket, and it sits on your counter. It looks dope as hell. It's stainless steel, but then it's a cocktail shaker, and that shit blows you to the moon. I worked it in, my favorite catchphrase. So, also I like antique stores because I like talking to the old people that run them, and they give you way too much information about a teacup. They're like, did you know in the 50s, a German cup maker, Larry Weinhausen, he used the best acrylic paints. When you're like, I don't care, Terry. You can stop telling me about the teacup. But there's also, antique stores are always claustrophobic.
Yes.
So when they start talking to you, there's no place to escape. If you go backwards, you're just going to knock over a shelf of dolls holding, gardening tools or something like that. So, yeah. Antique stores, pretty fucking dope. And if they're multiple levels, even better. If they've got a basement too, those are always interesting. So, and side hustle note for you people who don't have a lot of money, easy to steal from too. So, there you go.
Jesus.
Oh, poor Terry and her teacup.
That's my number 5.
Oh. Well, what a shame. It had to end on the theft note, but Brian.
You're so proper. I'm trying to dirty up this podcast a little bit. Get some scritch under your nails.
Started so wholesome with. Then we ended up with dead children and larceny from the elderly. So that was quite a journey. Brian, it's over to you.
Well, speaking of multi-level establishments, Mitch knows I've recently visited the Nutcracker Museum in Leavenworth, Washington. So that is 2 floors. So if you need to get your Nutcracker on, I highly recommend it. Number 5 here is something that surprised my life recently. And this is learning that one of your best friends you once respected now makes homemade dog treats. Now, so this was a big life surprise for me because there was just so many notches getting knocked down from someone you like, and just the sheer nausea that comes amongst you when you think about him in an apron, pulling at these hot little treats and blowing on them, cooling down, and then just watching just a beast just gnarl at it and just, you like that little guy? You like that? That's the image I want to have in my head now, for the rest of my life. Mitch, you have anything to say to this?
I will. It's so funny you said that because yesterday before I'm traveling, I'm in Minnesota right now. I made him a fresh batch of biscuits, and I did take one right out of the oven, fresh out of the oven, broke it in half, blew on it, and peeled it off and gave it to him. And he still was he did a weird, how when you bite something and it's hot, you're kind of He did that. And I went, oh, buddy, I'm sorry. And I blew on it a little more. So it's just the right temperature.
Okay.
As adorable
We
as
don't
that
want you
image
to
is,
blow on your
Describe
dog.
something I
We
did
don't need
yesterday.
this. Oh.
as adorable as that image
th-
is,
this-
I have a couple follow-up points to this, which is
Yeah.
dogs will literally eat out of the trash, so I don't know if this is just the best use of your time. And also, this is the only thing that you have made in the kitchen that you have later picked up out of the grass in poop form.
Well, there was that one time.
At least to my knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is definitely, I had to make my list because I mean it's the biggest surprise of my most recent life. So
Okay, like how much? What's the question here? How much do you? Is it a hate or is it a disgust? Do you feel shame for me? Do you pity me?
it's a little
What's
bit of
the-
shame and pity, but I mean it truly was a surprise. This is the one person I wouldn't think would do this ever, and it's just a complete shift. And I remember a few
You wouldn't
episodes
think-
back
you
when
wouldn't
you
think-
compared to having a dog to raising children, and Mr. Lovinggood scoffed you off. It's like, I got 3 damn kids. What are you talking about? A dog is the same. Like, I bet you he's not even taking the
someone's-
time to make baked goods. He doesn't have time. He's got 3 of them. Jeez.
Well, let's not put commentary on Alex Lovingood's time choices here. Because when I'm a father of 3, I will make baked goods for my children. It will happen. That's
I
that's
that
doubt
mean
you'll
you'll
still
stop
be
making
making
them
them
for
for the
Waldo?
dog.
Yeah. Will you stop making them for Waldo is the question.
Well, no, because Waldo's treats are so high quality that people can eat them too. I always try one biscuit myself.
Oh,
If you
this just
eat
gets
a
worse and worse.
goddamn dog treat, I swear to God,
Yeah,
You
I
was
don't
kicked off
care.
this podcast.
I don't care how sturdy the platter is that they're served on. I'm not eating one.
no.
All right,
not at
Brian.
all.
Brian, you're getting 3 points for this because I'm just as shocked as you are. And Mitch, I'm gonna give you 2 points only on the basis that I don't want to
Okay.
admit I'm that old yet. Maybe I am, but just for my own dignity, that's 2 points. And we'll go back to you for your number 4.
Sure. Yeah. So my number 4 is finding out that your neighbors could see you through that one window this whole time. You thought the angle from their living room to your fridge, it's the window in my kitchen. You thought it was like just enough of an angle where they couldn't see you, but turns out during all of quarantine they've been watching you pass time by dribbling just a little bit of half and half on your chest like a plinko board and just trying to get it down to your belly button for the big prize. Also, maybe when you are like naked in the kitchen, getting snacks,
Or baking dog treats.
baking dog treats. What else? There's, just doing embarrassing things in the kitchen, and whether fully clothed or not. And then one day you're like, oh my God, they could absolutely see in here, and you just feel. Well, I don't feel violated because they're not doing it on purpose. Like, I'm the one who should just close my blinds. But I'm just like, whatever, man, let it fly. Let it fly. And I made this realization when Danny told me, she's like, they can see you, right? Like, that angle's not sharp enough. And I did I set up a little camera phone, and I took some footage. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, they can definitely see in here
They can-
way more than I
They
thought.
can see you in
So-
the embarrassing act of making the homemade dog biscuits.
Yep.
I was
Just that.
thinking
Just
of-
making homemade dog biscuits, nothing else.
I'm thinking of. I've been on both sides of the coin here in a much more classically embarrassing scenario. The first was as an adult, many years ago though, but it was here in Chicago at a then girlfriend's apartment who lived across from a fairly well-known hotel that had a bar like on the same level, and we started to get a little frisky in the living room, and then realized that the blinds were up, and we turned and looked, and there was a couple who were like eye level with us across it was like across the street, but we were like right on the same altitude.
Plain
and
name.
they raised their glasses to us, which I thought was classy. And then
That is classy.
a little.
What hotel is this?
It was the Hyatt, I think, on Wacker Drive.
Nice.
Wait, is this? Oh, wait, is it? This is like a downtown apartment.
Yeah.
You're on like floor 20.
No,
or
we're
something?
like on the
okay,
second or third floor. But then a much scummier instance was when I was in college and was visiting friends at Western Illinois University in Macomb, and the cheap student apartments there. We were standing on a balcony, and sort of like across the way, there was a guy who was he was alone, and he was well like right within our view, and carrying on. And then when we were like, okay, we know how we're gonna handle this, and so as soon as he
did you watch him finish the painting?
no, I didn't, but somebody was like, okay, he just stood up, and then we all just started cheering wildly. And you could see his face turn red, and then he just walked over the window and took a bow and walked away.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean,
Maybe the next time. The next time my neighbors catch me finishing off the Chinese leftovers, just huddled over the sink like a rat, just turn and be like, "Yes, thank you very much."
My brain immediately thought finishing the Chinese leftovers was a euphemism for a second.
it is now.
Nope, we just love Chinese. Oh boy, woo!
Oh man.
Yeah. So that's my number 4. Take it or leave it, or watch it, whatever you want to do.
That's a classic. Brian, you got your work cut out for you to top that.
I do. But I think this one would be a genuine life surprise if this happened to me. And this would be coming across a feral child and raising it as your own. This would be... Just picture the scene. Like you're walking home from like a TJ Maxx or a grocery store. You got your bags in your hand and you pass a little forest preserve area and like a little Tarzan baby just kind of just appears. And you're just like, it's like scared and it's like kind of like looking back, but it like walks like on all fours. And it just kind of like hisses at you a little bit. And you're just like, it's okay, bud. Come here. You want some chips? And you give him some chips and he starts to trust you. And then he runs away, but then you come back the next day and the relationship builds as you start giving him more healthier food. Then you leave a bag of clothes from the TJ Maxx and he starts.
So like a fresh baked biscuit, maybe something like that.
No, I would never do that to a feral child.
Oh, okay.
I would never do that to a man or beast. And then as he starts to finally trust you, then you're just like, man, I'm gonna enroll him in school. And then you bring him to kindergarten and you watch him grow up, and then all of a sudden he just really can't break away from his beastly ways, and he starts swinging to school and all this stuff happens. Then he becomes like a superhero or something. Like all the things you could do with this feral child is pretty amazing.
Wow.
You got to find something to do with his skills, but I think like making him become man, I think would be a genuine life surprise that I would like to be a part of someday.
It sounds sort of like a kidnapping.
No. He was raised by wolves, so it's not a kidnapping. He just was lost. Somebody lost him, and then I found him. I didn't take him. I found him.
He ran away because he was very confused by the wolves taking the time to bake him a homemade birthday cake.
So yeah,
Wow.
I would.
This makes me think of going to a national park and seeing, like, I remember yellow-bellied marmots were often in, I think it was Yellowstone, and they would just sit on the trail side just waiting for cookies and chips.
Yep.
And I just like, God, you have been ruined. You are a wild animal has been ruined by the Nabisco Corporation and Lay's, but man, are you cute. And then we gave him some chips. And on the way back on that hike, it was laying on its back in the sun, crumbs all around it like it was in a goddamn food coma.
Now imagine
It might have died from a sugar rush.
But
I don't
imagine
know,
how
but-
cute that would be if it's a little kid. And not only that, you get to keep it.
Sounds like
that's pretty fun.
sounds like that
Imagine-
marmot was going through a real
Imagine
rough
the
divorce.
diarrhea, though.
Well, Brian, what's the best case scenario for this kid? Like, what's his career when he grows up?
I mean, I feel like firefighter is probably a good one. He doesn't need the ladder. Just scales a building, jumps down with like 6 people on his back and lands on 2 legs, no problem, like parkour. And he's like, I did it.
Okay, that would
Thanks,
be
Pops.
pretty cool to see.
Isn't this part of the plot from Jonathan Taylor Thomas's film Jungle to Jungle?
That was not
No, I'm just kidding.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Jungle to No, that was something else. That was with Chevy Chase. Jungle to Jungle is the one with Tim Allen.
Oh,
I don't know the name of the kid from Jungle to Jungle. There were 2 movies that were almost identical in plot from that same time.
About kids coming from the jungle to the city, and yeah.
I will do some research in our number 3 and make sure I find that title for our loyal audience.
Thank you.
Can't leave without knowing that today.
Yeah, you can't. You gotta.
Well, Brian, that just confused me beyond words. So I'm gonna go with just 1 point for you there.
You're missing out. You're missing out, bud.
And then Mitch, easy 3 points on that one. That's endless opportunity for hilarity with that scenario. And Mitch, it's back to you for your number 3.
Sure. My number 3, it's a quick, painful realization, and that is. Hammers can break through bone very easily. No, sorry, I just inspired by my creepy processing workshop background here. No, number 3 is a truly unexpected surprise birthday party.
Oh boy,
I've only had one of these, and I was utterly surprised. It was it's a feeling that I've never experienced at any other point. Maybe one similar thing was like oversleeping for a flight down to Florida for the Petanque Open, where I felt like my chest was like just closing up and there was like anxiety and stuff. That's how much anxiety I felt when I walked into my own surprise birthday party. Had no idea what was happening. Everyone had raided my closet and put on my ties and like my shirts and stuff. This is in college, and I only wore like dress shirts and ties because I was that asshole. And Nathan, you were there.
I was.
Weren't you?
I was there.
You were there.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if I'd met Brian yet, but it's so uncomfortable because when you truly get surprised like that, you can't enjoy it for like the first 20 minutes. Like you have this like tightness in your body that has to like loosen up, and so like you do 2 shots of whiskey and chug like 3 beers quick, and then like it helps a little bit, But what was weird about this surprise party is that my girlfriend at the time said, "Oh, I threw this surprise party for you," and she had her friends like walk me around the city to like get me out of the house or whatever. Which also I should have been like, why are
weird
Brent and Tyler walking me around Lincoln Park? Why aren't we just taking the bus? Like they love the bus. They take the bus all the time. Why are we walking all the way back to my house? I should have, me dummy, didn't realize that. But she tried to take full credit for this party. And then like months later, I found out that it was other friends' ideas, and she was brought the idea last minute and was like, okay, yeah, sure. And turned out everyone else had taken care of things and like made sure there was, chips and pretzels and dip and cheese and,
dog
celery
treats,
sticks and buffalo wings and dog treats and, peanuts and M&Ms and peanut M&Ms and Skittles.
It would take
and quesadillas. And
it would take a lot of effort to surprise you on your birthday. Your birthday is New Year's Eve, so
it is.
So surprising somebody with a party on New Year's Eve, that takes some doing.
Well, so here's the trick: is that it wasn't on New Year's Eve. It was like the weekend after or something like that, or before. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting it, and because my birthday is New Year's Eve, I normally don't like my birthday. I don't give a shit about it because it's not my day anyway. So even if people are like, in person, like, happy birthday, oh my God. But like no one's actually going to come over to my house because it's my birthday. They're like, no, fuck you. I got New Year's Eve plans. So
I've saying happy birthday to you on many a New Year's Eve. So I'll take some credit for that.
No. Yeah, Nathan, you're in the top you're in the gold level of Mitch birthday
I would like
members,
to share my my traditional gift to you that I used to do back in the day. I would get you one Miller High Life, the champagne of beers, and one bottle of Andre, the beer of champagnes, so we could do the official New Year's champagne toast, because that's what I could afford.
You also always got a lot of great cards. I remember one year you got a card that was just like a total beefcake, like male stripper on it, and I can't remember what you put in it, but it was really, really funny. And of course, and you always end the card with like may God bless you, or like don't forget to go to mass tomorrow, or something like that, or like forever blessings from Father Pat, passing them along. Sincerely, Nathan. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know if you guys ever had a surprise birthday party, but it like knocks you off your center for a good amount of time. And I mean, I had a great time, but then finding that thing out, the truth of the matter months later, it felt kind of dirty. I was like, oh my God, that was like kind of manipulative. And then, so it was like a weird taste that was left in my mouth, from eating all the M&Ms, the Skittles. And the pretzels.
There is, before you start listing, there is one other story I want you to share. Is you threw a surprise birthday party, that the Great American Surprise Party, back when we lived in the Ranch Triangle.
Oh my God!
And the setup on that was borderline cruel, and I played a role in it. But I'd like you to tell the story.
This was for the girlfriend that took credit for the surprise birthday party for me. She came over, and originally it was going to be on the lakefront, and she was in a cappella, so it was like trying to wrangle 30 college people to get to the lakefront. I was like, this ain't fucking happening. No. Let's just do it at our house. And so I told her, yeah, come on over, let's hang out, then we'll figure something out. Just very vague, like really good college boyfriend work. I'm just like, I don't know, let's figure it out, drink beers, we'll figure it out. She comes over, and our house is incredibly clean. Should have been a dead giveaway immediately.
That was the first time.
And we're playing. yeah. We're playing FIFA. I don't get up from the chair or even turn to say hello to her. My eyes stay glued on the TV, and I say, hey, how's it going, Emma? Hey, we just ran out. Can you grab a couple more beers for us from the fridge? And she goes, okay. And then walks into the kitchen where everyone was hiding, and then surprised the shit out of her. And
that's a good setup. That's a good setup.
Because I didn't turn around. Like, I was trying to look at her out of the corner of my eye, but I didn't want to give anything away. But like the look on her face when we didn't acknowledge her and asked her to go get beers for us was, I thought she was gonna murder us. But luckily, the walk to the kitchen was only like 6 feet, so it was only a second or two before the tension was cut. And our kitchen was about the size of a closet, so cramming all those people in there was not easy.
Was not large. Yeah, it was. I remember people, could easily get cornered in there by people who talked just like the antique store, nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah. Basically, if you opened the oven, you had to open my bedroom door just to have enough room to get both going at once. Anyway, we got to move on to Brian for your number 3. Take it away, Brian.
All right. Before my number 3, it was Man of the House you were thinking of. Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Okay.
Not Jungle to Jungle starring Sam Huntington. So thank God we got that out of the way. Number 3. This would truly be a surprise to me, especially as someone who didn't grow up religious. This would be losing my entire family to a religious cult.
Oh boy.
This would be real scary, especially with all of these Netflix documentary series I've been watching lately. Nathan, I took your advice and watched Murder Amongst the Mormons. And that kind of feels like a religious cult sometimes. Not as much as drinking the Kool-Aid or anything like that. But if I saw the slow slip into the palms of somebody else who was starting to manipulate my family members, I feel like that would truly be the biggest life surprise, because all of a sudden now family dinners would start to have these weird conversations of like, well, if you thought about it this way, it actually blah, blah, blah. And those would be like your first telltale signs. And you'd be like, all right, that was odd. And all of a sudden, Dad starts dressing with like very specific button-down shirts that are tucked into khakis, and you're like, "What? That's not him. He used to wear Zubaz. What's going on? That's not typical of Dad."
Zubaz.
And then Mom starts wearing like a bonnet or something from Handmaid's Tale, and you're like, "What is happening here?" And you should have saw the signs way earlier. And then all of a sudden, they're like, "We're moving to Idaho," and you're like, "What? What's there?" Everything. The answers
Where in
to
Idaho?
everything.
A gun range. It's a gun range in Idaho we're moving to.
It's somewhere because nobody knows anything about Idaho. It's there somewhere. And you're just like, okay, I guess bye. What are we going to see you for Christmas? There is no Christmas. We won't make it to Christmas because we're going to see Heavenly Father. And you're like, what happened? How did I lose grip of this situation so fast? It was only like 6 months.
It would be truly shocking to see your family stop with Christmas because the Ernst home, the decorations at holidays they put the house from Lampoon's Vacation to shame.
Yeah. My dad doesn't decorate. He is an illumination specialist, as he likes to be called. And yes, he goes full Griswold every year. And that's pretty much the guaranteed Christmas gift to give him is just give him something with lights that plugs in just to add to the collection. And if you could actually find the old plastic molded things that take the light bulb in the back, if you can find those anywhere, because now those are so expensive. Those used to be $3 at Target. And now to try and find those because nobody wants those anymore. Like if you can find those, that's the thing. When those get thrown away, that's when I know he's been assumed into a religious cult.
Yeah. Your dad, I think we need to start calling him Daddy Christmas probably here soon.
Daddy Christmas, bring us some money.
He grows that beard and he's just like,
Yeah, if I want that beard to get down to his belt line.
This is his plan. He's been trying to morph into Santa all along. I can't believe it took me this long to think about it.
I just wanted to throw in another Tim Allen reference there just to keep it going.
All right, Brian.
From Suburb to Slay, the new film from Christopher Columbus, starring
Suburb
Rick
to
Ernst.
What a one sheet. That would be such a great one sheet. Just a silhouette of my dad with a giant beard. The houses shrinking in the background as a giant sleigh flies overhead. Oh, amazing.
Well, I was only going to give you 2 points, but then bringing it home with a lighthearted idea for your dad starring in the Santa Claus reboot. That's going to be 3 points. And Mitch, both stories of you attending and throwing a surprise party also worth 3 points. So we'll head back to Mitch for his number 2.
I'd also like just to put another feather in my cap. At that surprise party I threw, one of the revelers got so turned she was grinding on a pole outside and thought it was a human. So pretty good party. Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
That's impressive.
That was hilarious. But yeah, okay. My number 2 is it's similar to finding money in your jacket when you take your winter coat out next season, but this is a little different. It's a little switch up here, and that's when you're putting on your fancy suit again, the one you only wear to weddings. Or very formal occasions, and you find in the inner breast pocket of your blazer a beer coaster or a beer koozie from a wedding you went to prior, and maybe you pull the koozie out and it says the hunt is over, Brian and Katie, August 24th, 2011. You're like, oh man, I can't believe I still have this camo beer koozie that was the official wedding present in my inner pocket. Or a coaster from a bar you went to after the wedding, and it brings back all those memories, whether clear or opaque they are, of that night, of that time, and it gets you in the mood. It gets your hips loose and your booty ready for shaking at another wedding, which I really love. And it doesn't, obviously finding cash is cool because you're like, I'm $20 richer all of a sudden. But this is more important. This is about filling your heart up with great memories. Of just like drinking 8 cups of Boone's Farm and then doing a shot of Jaeger with your aunt before you split your pants trying to show off on the dance floor, for like third cousins. So finding finding remnants of an old wedding, always a good time, always a nice walk down memory lane, and that's my number 2.
So is this something you forget about every year, the same koozie? Because you said 2011. That's 10 years ago. So do you just somehow trick yourself into forgetting it and surprising yourself the next year? And do you move it from suit to suit? Because I don't think you're wearing the same suit that you wore in 2011.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, because I've got my YSL herringbone suit that I wore. I've got my Brioni gray sharkskin suit I wear sometimes, or maybe, go with the Ralph Lauren navy blue, kind of a business suit. I wear that sometimes. But no, that was the one big surprise. This was in the gray sharkskin suit. But then, yes, it did move to another jacket, and then it moved into my koozie collection. So, but it reminds me of that wedding when the DJ had to stop the groom from taking off additional clothes during the garter removal, where he removed the garter from my cousin's leg and then began to strip for her and gave her a grinding stripper dance.
God.
His pants were open, the zipper was down, his shirt was off, he was just in a wife beater, and he was about to take his pants off, and the DJ had to be like, "Hey guy, you have to stop. There was at least 40 kids at this wedding." Yeah.
Oh,
and there were kids
boy.
running around the dance floor as he was stripping and grinding on my cousin. It was incredible to watch. It was one hell of a wedding. But yeah, so it makes me think of those things, and how they only served Coors Light. That was for beer. You couldn't get any other beer except for Coors Light. So
It kind of reminds me of the Shasta wedding we attended that one time.
oh, the goddamn Shasta wedding. We were texted a picture of the invitation 2 days before and invited that way.
We were not even truly really invited, and we get there, and all of the food is being served buffet style on paper plates, and the only thing to drink was either tap water or Shasta soda out of 3-liter bottles from the dollar store.
Yep.
And we were like,
But the water wasn't out. I had to ask for water. They had to go to the back to get a glass of water.
and when we sat down, and the look on Mitch's face, like, we got invited to a goddamn Shasta wedding. And it's such a great summation of so many things. Everything could be a Shasta wedding now in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yep.
All right, well,
Shasta.
oh, I hate going to weddings. Let's move on. Brian, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is sheer luck of growing up in the Chicago suburbs in the 90s. This is where what the life surprise you could never plan for is getting to witness all that is Michael Jordan. This is growing up in the age of Space Jam, in the age of the NBA being what it was. It was so exciting somebody like me got into basketball. Can you believe it? Only the person who could do that would be Michael Jordan. I didn't give a shit about anything, but Michael Jordan sucks me in. I want the shoes. I want to watch the movie. I need the Space Jam comforter. I need the matching sheets and pillowcase. I need the photo that I have of baby Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, and Michael Jordan all looking up at the stars, the constellation of the bulls up in the sky. This is the thing I needed, and I got to witness this. My chance of being a human on this planet at that time is 1 in a trillion minimum, and I got to experience that. What you got to say to that, Nathan?
3 points.
Woo!
God damn it.
I agree with every word, and I could go on for, as everybody knows, about another 3 hours on that. But I won't. I'm just going to give you the 3 points. And we'll move on, because that was, I mean, it's just pure facts. All it was facts. Sometimes on this show, we're just about facts. Infotainment, I've always called it. Today, Brian's spewing facts. 3 points to Brian. Mitch, you depressed me with your wedding tales, and I can only give you 1 point.
What do you, okay, hold on. You don't like going to weddings. I'm going to say it. How the fudge is that possible?
I
free food. Hopefully it's good food. Free food, free drinks, dancing.
Shasta?
Shasta? Available people to flirt with? That's your favorite shit?
A lot of that is fun, but it's overwhelmed by the fact that somebody always embarrasses themselves, and I always get that feeling of secondhand embarrassment, and I don't like watching other people embarrass themselves, and it's just inevitable. I know at some point in the night it's going to happen. I dread it, so I just can't fully relax and have fun.
Well, I'm sorry I have splashed secondhand embarrassment on you so many times in my life. I had no idea.
That is true. Secondhand embarrassment.
It's the worst feeling. Oh, God.
Your legs have been wet from the shins down ever since you met me, and I apologize. All that second...
It's been a long 16 years. All right, Mitch, let's hear your number one.
Wow. My number one is how red your face just got. It's matching the pulls on your shirt. No, my number one is, it's a tale as old as time, you guys. It's all about love. It's all about finding the counterpoint to your soul. Thank you, Owen Wilson, Wedding Crashers. And that is, the biggest life surprise for me has been that Jenny Doherty and I are never going to marry. Jenny and I met, in first grade. Jenny. Spelled with an I-E, not a Y. That makes her different. Her hair was kind of long, but like just short enough, and her dad worked at Nike. He was a Nike like regional sales rep guy, so she always had a bunch of dope Nike stuff, so that was really cool. And as you just said, this connects perfectly. Michael Jordan was really popular at the same time too. So Nike rose, her stock rose, my vision of her and my just rose with it. She had sparkly gems for eyes. They were just so bright and so full of life. And she was so good at reading. She always, she was a great reader. She always did her homework. She's also the best basketball player at our school too. Any girl. And so it's just this crush. This crush was there, and it developed into an intense love. And I would talk to her every now and again. Then finally it happened. In 6th grade, we dated for, I guess we never ended it technically. So I guess we're still dating.
There's still hope.
Wow. There's still hope.
You've been cheating on her pretty hardcore for decades now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that makes me a player. I guess I'm like Bill Bellamy from Def Jam's How to Be a Player, running multiple women at once, I guess. But Jenny was like, she was so great. She was so cool, and her eyes were sparkly, and it's like her eyes had like a light from within that came out and just grabbed your heart and just held on, no matter how rough the ride, just kept holding on. And the peak of our relationship, we were at a dance, St. Luke's auditorium. This is before they put the rules in place so you could get close and sweaty. Grinding was really cool then. This would have been 1998 maybe. Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz had just won their first championship. And it's Jenny's birthday, the day of the dance. So I think I got to make her something from the heart. I got to show her how much she means to me and how strong we will be from that moment on until the day we die holding each other's hands. And so I made her a hemp bracelet that I weaved myself. I put her name in it, a J, an E, an N, an N, and an IE. Made her different, made her better, made her special. And I put it in a white envelope. And I sealed the envelope. It was one of those good envelopes you can't see through. It was a security envelope. Very nice, a little nicer than normal.
Yeah.
And I wrote, also, I didn't sign up for electives soon enough, so I was in a calligraphy elective with 4 other kids. So I was doing calligraphy at that time. So I calligraphied her name, Jenny, Jennie, very special, on the outside of the envelope in blue marker. And in like the middle of the second dance, it's sitting in my back pocket. I'm sweating. It's just like the envelope's getting wetter for every minute that passes. And it's a your love is like a river so deep and so blue. I think that's NSYNC or Backstreet Boys or something. And I stop like 3/4 way through a song, like, Jenny, happy birthday. I made you something, and I gave her this crumpled white envelope with her name on it, and it wasn't very straight either. And she's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then immediately, all of her friends were watching us because we were like the hot couple that week. And then they come in to like see what the gift is, and I just back up because this is now my role as the guy is just to back up and go away and wait till the girls, look at the thing and talk about it. And she opens it up, and I've never seen 4 to 5 young women turn and look so sad about a gift in my entire life.
No.
Jenny wore it. Jenny wore it for a couple of days. She was very nice about it, but her friend, you could just tell. I was like, oh, that didn't work. That was not. That got to the warning track, but that was definitely caught for the third out this inning.
Oh, no.
I almost won the game.
I'm trying to think what's the most romantic gesture I did in middle school. Nathan, can you think of yours?
Jeez, I was hopeless at that time.
In 7th grade, I think I dated this girl named Emily, and it happened to be over Valentine's Day for one time. And I remember I made sure to sneak into our class. I bolted because we had to change classes, obviously, in middle school. I bolted from my last class through the halls to make sure I got there before her so I could set up Hershey Kisses in a heart on the desk and put a piece of paper over it. Said, "Look underneath for a surprise." I think that was the closest thing I got to making a hemp bracelet in middle school. But that's the only one I can remember.
Wow. Well, it's the big romantic gestures are always weird in middle school. No matter whoever has the guts to do them, they're never like, oh, that was a good decision. It was like, why did you get her 2 gallons of like her favorite orange drink, with like a bag of Skittles? Like,
because
when 1 gallon is enough.
Because when dating in middle school requires the parent to take you to get pizza, your options are limited.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Now in high school, I went to a winter dance with a young lady from the school next to mine, and it was a multi-high school dance. So she tells me, "Oh, by the way, we're going to dinner at my friend's house. They're like having the dinner for us." I'm like, "All right, cool." And so she picks me up. We're driving there, and we're getting closer to Jenny's house because I know exactly where Jenny's house is. I always have. I'll know where it is at all times. Jenny's house that she grew up in, right by the Grand Oak Creamery.
Getting creepy. Move on.
That's where the light source emanates from. And so we pull up, and I went, "Wait, is your friend's friend Jenny Doherty?" And she goes, "Yeah. Do you know her?" And I was like, "We're dating. This is awkward." And so we go inside, and me and Jenny like see each other, and I'm like, "Hi, Jenny," and I'm like much more, outgoing and like, confident myself at this point. And she was like, "Hi." Still, her eyes were gems, but she barely talked to me at all that night.
Oh.
Wouldn't even dance with me at the dance. And her parents, her dad never thought I was good enough for her, I'm pretty sure, because he was like, "Mitchell, hello?" And then just like watched me the entire night. So, but I thought maybe I could, turn her back to my favor that night. Maybe we'd get married, start a family, move to a farm in Virginia, raise chickens, cows, goats.
Her dad knew you probably touched her butt at the middle school dance, and he will never forgive you for that.
He loved to chaperone that stuff. He definitely watched me grind on his daughter.
Well, you never officially broke up, so hope springs eternal.
Yep.
All right, Brian. Yep. Brian, take us home. What's your number 1?
My number 1 is a little happy and a little sad. This is learning that you had an Aunt Carol, which is super happy. And then double happy is that you're coming into her well-manicured stock portfolio, which is also great, but it's because she died skydiving at 80 in a blaze of glory. So this is a big surprise. This is a lot of information to take in. One of your parents had another sibling you didn't know about. She was obviously a badass and was really good with her money. So I'm like, the fact that she thought of you, put you in the will, you inherited this thing of Tesla, Apple, Nike stock that's been there just for years, just accumulating wealth. And she left it to you and your siblings, and just such a nice thing, Aunt Carol. And then you have to read about the news story. It's in the paper about her like skydiving malfunction. But it's like you could like it's like a little quote at the end that has her last words. It's like, I lived a great life. Like she was still all good with it. It was happy. She went out in a blaze of glory doing what she loved, taking risks. She took risks in her stock portfolio and she took risks jumping out of that plane, baby. This is Aunt Carol, man. She's always just gonna be that memory in your head now of what she could have been. Like, what would life have been if you got to meet Aunt Carol? And you know what? That's a pretty good surprise. And what a great thing to think about for the rest of your life. Aunt Carol. Wow. What a life.
Are you going to take more risks after reading about Aunt Carol, her body splattering on the ground?
No, I don't have to because I'm financially secure for once. So I don't have to take these risks anymore because I'm good. Thanks, Aunt Carol.
Okay.
I'm only aware of mystery ants leaving people stuff in wills with like the clause in the will that says you have to spend the night in a haunted house or something. But she's just giving it to you.
Oh, those are classic.
What's great about Carol, she didn't have kids, and the other siblings didn't really procreate. So it's like we were the only ones. She left a little bit to her brothers and sister, but now it's like, man, I get the rest of this stuff. She really did care about me. If she put me in the will, that's secret love.
Wow.
That's the best kind of love.
Is it?
It is. If she thought, I mean, I got a stock portfolio.
Is she like, how's she keeping tabs on you? This is, if you have no idea.
Facebook.
Aunt Carol.
She knows how to use Facebook. Maybe we were friends. Maybe she used an alias to friend request me, and I thought she was somebody else. And she's keeping tabs on me this whole time.
Brian, let me tell you firsthand experience. Secret love is not the best, okay? All of Jenny's love was secret, and I never got to know what it was about, okay? And it's not great. It's not great when you don't know. Okay?
I like to think, though, that if I met Aunt Carol, that she would have had a sparkle in her eye that would have made me a little bit more of a risk taker. But I'll never know because she's gone, splattered, dead on the ground, blood everywhere.
You think Carol spells with a K or a C?
Oh, I'm going
two
C.
R's?
Definitely a C.
C.
Like a Christmas carol.
2 R's, 1 L, 2 L's?
1 R, 1 L, like a Christmas carol. Makes me feel good.
Oh, okay.
Nothing special about her spelling, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
Well,
generic spelling, great stocks.
I actually think I once sat at a roulette table with Carol in Reno in '98. I'm pretty sure. That sounds like a similar lady.
You were gambling at 12? How'd you get in?
My dad was in the bathroom. They got lax rules in Nevada.
They got lax rules. That's how I met Carol. It's a great time.
Well, this
she invited me to go skydiving, but I couldn't go that day.
This would be an incredible
Bring us back on the rails.
This would be an incredible surprise, but I don't know why she had to die in such a violent end, but I'm going to give you 2 points for that.
Because it's surprising.
I'm giving you 2 points, and Mitch, it was a beautiful story, but finding out that you are a serial philanderer all this time has left me deeply disappointed. That's a bad surprise for me, so I'm only going to give you 2 points as well. And so
hold on, but Nathan, here, what's the name of Dennis Rodman's father?
Philander.
Philander, that's pretty cool, right? Maybe an extra point.
And he has something like 50 kids or something. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
There's a word for that.
And he lives in the Philippines
like,
to avoid taxes.
Nominative determinism is what they call that when.
Oh.
Yeah, when somebody has a name.
You just taught me something new.
Again, infotainment. So I ran the numbers, didn't even have to take a break, so I'm going to give myself a quick math bonus of 1 point. And then,
wow.
So it actually comes out to 11 for Mitch and 12 for Brian. But, but the house rule, the surprising house rule was who would say the single most surprising statement of the entire show, which of course was the completely impossible eventuality of Karl Malone ever winning an NBA championship. So Mitch, you're sneaking away with the draw. So well done.
You couldn't give me 2 points for a W? Come on. Nathan, you love dropping a piece of meat between Brian and I, but just putting a little cage over it so we can't get to it. We're just always just drawing over and over, just fighting out.
It is what keeps me going. All right, that's the end of the game, and now all that's left is for me to reveal my definitive list of the top 5 doors of all time. Number 5, 10 Downing Street. The iconic black door at this famous address in London houses the executive branch of the government of the United Kingdom and is also home to the Prime Minister. It's one of the most durable front doors in history, still has its original brass letterbox, lion's head door knocker that date to the 1770s, but the wooden door was reinforced with steel in the wake of IRA bombings in the 90s. Also, no one has a key, and the door can only be opened from the inside. Quite a lot to think about for what is essentially a backdrop for crusty old white people to stand in front of while they lie to the nation they swore to serve. Number 4, the Black Gate of Mordor. Black stone and iron, spanning the entrance to the Valley of the Mountains of Ash, with towers of teeth at each end, patrolled by orcs day and night, made this impregnable to those who dare challenge the forces of the evil Sauron. But Frodo Baggins and Samwise Gamgee wisely decided not to go through the door, but then they got into Mordor through a different way, despite being a combined 5 feet tall or something. Maybe the forces of evil should have invested in a more comprehensive and less cosmetic security system. Number 3, Door County, Wisconsin. This charming peninsula nestled on the shores of Lake Michigan in northeastern Wisconsin is a delightful vacation getaway known for its natural beauty, stunning state and county parks, quaint villages for shopping, and of course, those delicious pies featuring the incomparable locally grown cherries. Now that's a door you'd love to pass through. Number 2, a sturdy bathroom door. In your busy, bustling home, sometimes there's nowhere to get away from the mayhem except for in the bathroom. Whether reading a long tome while sitting on the throne or listening to relaxing new age music while soaking in a long bubble bath, that solid double-lock bathroom door will keep the spouse, kids, relatives, and pets at bay while you get some much-needed me time. And the number 1 greatest door of all time is Jim Morrison. No, just kidding. He was a useless, talentless oafish bore, a drunk with a 3-note vocal range espousing atrociously bad poetry set to mediocre instrumentation and uninspired songwriting, who happened to find fame because a whole generation was on too much LSD to understand how unlistenable the Doors' music was. He should end up in the dumpster of musical history, only notable for being the most overrated figure in 20th century pop culture. He's one guy I would like to show the door. And that's this week's edition of Über Cinco. Joining me has been, from Berwyn, Illinois, that winning gas station scratch-off ticket worth $20.
Brian Ernst.
And from the Southport Quarter in Chicago, it's that extra $20 bill in your old winter coat.
Mitch Brinkman.
I'm Nathan Hennenfent. As BizBear always says, you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to iron them, and know when to take them to the dry cleaners. Auf Wiedersehen and adios.
You've just listened to Über Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBK Studios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.